Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Mitra, product marketer here at SuperOps. With me joining today is Sriram Prasad, who heads product marketing for everything IT, and Anirudh, our product manager also. And with us is Aravind, our CSM Specialist. Today's webinar is all about 2025 recap, and we wanted to also show you our 2026 product direction, and we're really excited about this webinar. I'll just give another couple of seconds for a few people to join. So today's webinar is all about our 2025 recap, but we wanted to do this a little bit differently this time. Along with showing you all our feature demos, we also wanted to take a step back and look at the entire outcome that we delivered this year and how it helped IT teams scale better. So I'll just walk you through the agenda for today's webinar. So first we'll start off with the bulk features that we got released in 2025 and how they shaped our entire year. And Shriram will walk you through all the outcomes that we drove with them. And Anirudh will be taking over the product detection for 2026, and you'll see how exciting the upcoming features are. And we'll finish off with a live Q&A, and the floor will be open for all of you guys. And Anirudh and our customer specialist Aravind will take care of the questions for you. So 2025 was a foundational year in SuperOps. We wanted to give you more confidence with the features, help you scale better, and then help you also work without friction. We shipped a bunch of features that were going to help you do that. And Sriram is now going to talk you through all of them. Over to you, Sriram.
Thank you so much for that, Mitra. That was really helpful. So, like Mitra mentioned, right? So, we're going to walk you through all the things that we shipped, but more importantly, we're here to talk about why we did that in the first place. So, just let's take a step back here, right? One of the things that we want to achieve through the course of 2025 is not to just ship a bunch of features that would aid IT teams, but to make SuperOps an operating system for IT teams so that they don't have to look for IT management elsewhere. So one of the common constraint you see in IT today is the data. Data is in silos. Like the biggest thing that happened in 2025, as all of you might have guessed, is the whole AI boom and agentic AI boom. If you look at one of the core principles for any AI system to work, be it agentic AI or generative AI that came before, is the data set that it's fed into. One of the biggest constraints in the IT landscape that we saw was there were different tools being used for different set of problems that an IT team wanted to solve for. For instance, the core jobs for an IT team is to take care of endpoints, ensure that your end user experience is not compromised at any given cost. And no IT team is same as another IT team, right? You have there are IT teams who are taking care of healthcare firms for whom HIPAA compliance is more important, where it's mostly Windows environment. But there are organizations in other legal and finance firms there where there are a bunch of Mac devices. And for instance, like a K-12 school environment or an educational environment where you also have your iPads and student devices coming into play. So the biggest constraint that we saw in IT was the gap between the different device management tools that were put to use and how they process these service requests that is coming in. So everybody had a different set of tool to achieve different purposes, and that was true with SuperOps as well, right? SuperOps solve for the endpoint management problem very solidly. Like by endpoint I mean the network devices that you had, and also the Windows and Mac devices on which you install an agent. One of the key missing component that you had was the need for an MDM to also be managed within the same platform, which is something that we bridged so that you let go of that another silo as well. So unified endpoint management came a full circle in 2025 because all your endpoints across all OSs are brought together into a single platform. And where does your service delivery reside? In more cases, you have a separate ticketing system that you put into use, where you use it for intake management or incident request, which was a separate team. And that was creating another silo as well. As you see, like this is not just to set some context, right? This is not going to be a presentation where we are going to walk you through a bunch of bullet points over a slide, but we just want to set context in terms of what the philosophy that we are trying to achieve through our product roadmap. As you can see, the architecture that's presented there. So we have all the bases covered in terms of system of records, which forms, which talks about your endpoint devices where you manage desktops, servers, and mobile devices. And with SuperOps, your service delivery and service requests also reside within the same platform. Then comes your integration layer, where an IT cannot exist isolated with a bunch of antiviruses and your communication tools residing out of your tech stack. So that's where the integration comes into play, where SuperOps doesn't replace your tech stack. It just fits right into your ecosystem so that it's not much of a hindrance. It's not a rip and replace. It's more of interoperability that you work with. So we maintain the consistency in terms of the unified database. And then you have the agentic AI layer on top of it. So now we've given SuperOps the complete data set or the context for AI to work on top of it. So all the outcomes that you drive with AI is meaningful. Like you can have 12 different tools to manage all of these processes and 12 different AI agents working on top of them. It's still not going to be as efficient as one connected universe where AI agents working on top of it to deliver holistic outcomes as opposed to working in silos. So that was the main thing that we wanted to achieve with SuperOps this year, and I think we did a pretty decent job there. So now that I've set context with respect to why we did what we did, we're going to talk about some of the key things that we shipped this year. So first, let's talk about one of the key layer, one of the core jobs to be done for an IT team is taking care of the assets. And like I said, we brought all the asset categories and asset types into one system, and there are operational depth that we added to it as well. Not just it's not just the fact that you can manage devices across OS, but you also do it with the depth and the complexity with which you want to operate. So as you see, one of the key things that I want to highlight, so we released maintenance mode this year, where you can switch on a toggle where you don't need to be bothered when your maintenance is running. More often than not, in terms of the remote monitoring tools that you use, you always have alerts pop up or some patch running in the maintenance window, so you don't want that to happen. So we shipped that maintenance mode this year. And Mitra, let me just share my screen quickly to just show you some of the
Sure.
key enhancements that we had shipped. So one of the things that we did this year is the policy management. So I spoke about bringing all the assets together in one single place, but what's the actual end goal of doing that? The end goal of doing that is to maintain a scalable policy across all OSs in one platform. Because what happens today is your network monitoring devices reside in a separate tool like an Ovic or Domotz. You have your MDM that's managed through a different third-party tool, and you have your endpoints in one specific tool, and you end up creating policies to be proactive across all of these tools. One of the biggest things that SuperOps solved for this year is the complexity in the policy management, where you can set up policies across different OSs and different device types. You want the endpoints, you want the network devices and MDM mobile devices that you can manage in one platform. And we also have a category rule builder so that, like I said, no IT environment is same as the other. So you have your own set of rules, you have your own set of patching compliances that you need to follow. You have your matrix that you need to ensure so that your endpoints are up and running all the time. Because the key goal for an IT team is not to fix things when they break. When they break, it's to ensure that things don't break in the first place. And the core component of that is the policy management. So we introduced that this year, and one of the biggest things that we also solve for this year is the whole asset onboarding. So this is one of the common use cases that you would see as an IT team. As soon as somebody walks into your organization, you're asked to deploy all their assets and ensure that they have all the right configurations in. So with the asset onboarding that's available on the policy level, this starts off as soon as you put an endpoint agent on an endpoint, it's going to have all the configurations that's preset on a policy level so that you don't have to think about it twice. So you have asset onboarding. Like I said, you will also be able to set up a maintenance window for your endpoints with the same. And these are some of the major things that we had shipped on the asset management front. Let me just quickly talk about one of the favorite things for me this year is, so these are all on a proactive level. But another key important update that we shipped this year that I really like is the fact that we have the time series graph that's going to give you all the information on a high level. So suddenly there's an incident request that you want to immediately address. So for you to know the history of a particular device that you're operating in, you this time series graph that shows the historical information of a CPU usage or a memory usage is really key for your IT environment. So this is something that's been really helpful, because as soon as there's an incident request, you want to understand why this happened in the first place so that you ensure that it doesn't repeat hereafter. So this is one of the key things that we wanted to talk about as well. So these are some of the updates from me on the endpoint management or the remote monitoring and management. Mitra, if we can go back to the slides, I would like to just jump onto the next section. And just a disclaimer, like Mitra mentioned, like as in when you see the screen, if there is any sort of doubt, or if you want to start using or adopting any of the feature that you see, or if you need more clarity, feel free to ping your questions on chat. We have Aravind, our CSM, on chat, who's going to help you with it. And you can also write to our success team, so that if there is something that you would like to change in your process, or if you would like to be more efficient, we'll be able to help you with that, right? So the next key component of the endpoint management is the software management piece. And we already had depth in the software management when it comes to Windows software management. And with this year, we have Mac management with Homebrew that's built into the platform. And like you get instant alerts as and when a software is installed or uninstalled, because you don't want your employees to remove or add any new application other than what you want to have them in their workspace in the first place. So you have that. And you also have a custom software repository. So we support a wide range of authorized sources ourselves with the Winget, or you have your chocolatey, and we also spoke about Homebrew. But apart from that, if there is a separate business software that you also want to deploy through policies, you have your custom software repository that you could make use of as well. And we also have a software activity report. Mitra, if you can stop sharing your screen, I can just quickly go back to the product and show these things as well. So like I said, one of the things that I wanted to show this time is on the reporting side, you always have the patch compliance reports that you're looking for, not just with respect to Windows devices, but also with respect to the softwares that you're managing across these assets. Because when it comes to the software, you are managing assets across different sites and different geographies. You still want to keep a close look of all the softwares installed on their asset, and also ensure that they're up to date so every function can go about their business as usual. Let me just quickly pull up the report for you so that I can just give you a quick sneak peek as to how it looks as well. Yes, I'm grabbing that report as we speak. Yeah, here you go. So you would be able to see all for like site-wise analytics as to all the applications that are installed on a specific asset, and along with their version as well. You will also be able to check the information of the publisher, source, and what the action has been taken within SuperOps on a certain date. So this will ensure that you're not just covered on the patch with respect to complaints, but also with respect to third-party softwares that you're managing for your employees. You have a clean view that you can present to your management, or when it comes to audits that you can use for compliance with this PDF reports that we have. So that is one thing that I just quickly wanted to show. Yes, Mitra, we can go back to the slide again. Yeah. So far we've covered the depth of the endpoint management and the software management as well. Moving on, one of the key things that we had this year was the network monitoring update. And every time we talk about an IT process, one key process that comes to mind is the onboarding and offboarding process, because You want that to be as seamless as possible. With the launch of network discovery that was made possible this year, so that as soon as you do a network scan, you are able to identify all the assets on a particular subnet, and you would be able to push agents to the assets as well, so that you can bring them in instantly. You not only set up policies to be more proactive, but this process, like earlier we had bulk deployment option of to push the agents across the assets. In the previous webinar we did for IT, that was one of the strengths, as mentioned by a few of our customers. They really like the fact that as soon as I get into the SuperOps platform, I'm able to just push the assets and get it into place. Because from the sales conversations, right? But from all the conversations that we've had across prospects and customers this year, one of the biggest pain point that always we keep hearing is, irrespective of whatever endpoint platform we choose to go with, the core job is to manage an asset, and we spend so much time trying to configure these assets and trying to bring them in, that we don't actually do the work that we are supposed to do. So with network discovery, that's gotten a lot easier as well. And you also have topology map apart from HTTP and HTTPS, SSH, reverse proxy. These are different protocols that we had started supporting for network monitoring this year, along with all the things that we used to support. So again, it has cut down on a need for a separate network monitoring tool. Like instead of paying three different tools at the same time, you're still able to manage your network devices along with your endpoints on a same platform. And with the topology map, you're exactly able to see uh, how this transcends as well. Mitra, could we go to the topology map? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. We got the right slide this time. Yes. So yes, so you, like, for every site that you have, right? So you're able to instantly visualize the whole network topology as to all the assets that are mapped on a particular network with all these insights. One of the key things, right? There are so many players in the market. What makes SuperOps different from the other players in the market is the fact that how do you represent the network monitoring? We didn't realize until a lot of users spoke to us about this, because in some tools you still have to do a binary configuration to find out if a particular switch is on or off. Whereas in SuperOps, you're clearly able to visualize within a firewall which switch is off and which switch is on. With the network topology, like, one of the biggest things that happened this year is people are able to clearly visualize, or technicians, when they're troubleshooting or when they're working on assets, they're clearly able to visualize how their network is mapped with respect to all the assets that they're managing. So that is one thing that we really wanted to do this year, and I'm glad that it came out as well. So if you're somebody who's still interested in using network monitoring and haven't done yet, I would love for you to take a look at what we have to offer if you're managing any network devices, because we have a whole bunch of features that you thought that you didn't know you needed in the first place. So that is one thing that I wanted to talk about. And yes, we can move further. Yeah. So, like I said, right, in the initial conversation, you have the system of records, which is basically all the endpoints that you manage, service requests that comes in. Any AI is considered a good AI if it works on the data that's fed into it. So here you have a AI feature that works at a device layer. So far we saw all the features that we shipped across pure endpoint management, network monitoring, and the depth within the software management as such. These are some of the key RMM features, RMM AI that we delivered this year, so that your technicians are enabled better with this. One of the biggest things, like my favorite AI feature of this year, is AI patch and community sentiment summary, because before becoming a product marketer, I used to be a pre-sales myself. I went on calls I worked with a lot of MSPs and IT teams alike. One of the biggest problem with respect to patching is you don't want to push something that you don't know would work completely and break the entire system. And what happens from then on is a search for knowledge across your Reddit forums and your Windows forums to see if a certain patch is problematic or not. We've seen this often, right? Like every time there's a patch Tuesday and a new patch comes in, you like search for the KB number to see if it's problematic or not. You go to your r/sysadmin to see if it's actually working or not. So what we've done with AI patch and community sentiment summary is we've brought all the sentiment analysis that you need to proceed with the patch approvals within the platform. So you would be able to see what is the general consensus on a certain patch, what is being spoken in the community, so that hours of research is condensed into a single screen for you so that you can take the decision right then and there. So you have that there. And you also have AI powered script generation. So this is something that's not new as well, right? So you have the ability. So you have Claude models that's giving you codes right now. You have Chat GPTs that can generate code. But why SuperOps' AI powered script generation works is the fact that it creates the script and also provides you an ability to test it right then and there so that you can see if it's actually working or not. It actually fills you in on the variables based on the problems that you feed it into it, and also gives the right set of information so that you can instantly equip. What we've seen this AI functionality achieve is the fact that it's cut down on a lot of L3 and L2 dependent tickets. If there is a certain script that you want to generate, and if you're not so sure, you are always reliant on a senior technicians to come in and test the particular script before you push it out to production. So one of the things that we were able to see drastically as an AI outcome this year is the number of scripts that were generated and used across the assets. So that is one of the things that we wanted to talk about as well, right? So now, so far we spoke everything about all the endpoint management, whatever enhancements and the features that we shipped across the the endpoints network and also the AI feature that works on the RMM. But if you ask me, one of the key advantages of using a platform like SuperOps is you will be able to standardize service delivery that you wouldn't able to do with a lot of other tools here. Because you, like for instance, if you use a really strong RMM tool, like let's say you'd used a really strong RMM tool, you're always reliant on a third party tool or like your MS Teams or Slack to deliver these outcomes. So the service request lives in the world of tickets and your endpoint lives in the world of devices. There's no connection between these two, right? So one of the things that SuperOps actually delivers for you is contextual ticketing. It's not just service delivery, it's contextual device service delivery where you have all the information through the assets. So these are some of the three key enhancements that we worked on this year. My favorite feature in this lot is the unified runbooks. Let's go for it, Mitra. Yeah, so one of the things with the unified runbooks, what happens is again, what this sets out to do is we spoke about like onboarding, right? Onboarding as a process, it not only involves just deploying an asset and handing it over to employee. It's also about the experience. It's not just one off service request or one off asset request that you're fulfilling. There are a bunch of things that you need to provision as well, because as soon as a user walks in, you have to create an account in your Active Directory for that particular user, and once that's created, you need to set up his asset and provision that to him. If there are any other software that he has requested, you need to go through this approval flow to see if you can actually provision these softwares onto this asset. So these processes are actionable through the unified runbooks that's there. So unified runbook is basically your SOPs being actionable. So I've seen in a lot of sysadmin forums where the need for creating SOPs to control ticket volume, but these SOPs end up becoming a checklist and not actionable because it's just a bunch of things that you need to do it, right? With respect to unified runbooks, this is the core example of a system that's built as one and the systems that call themselves as all in one. So when you walk into a ticket, you will be able to see all the relevant tasks that you need to do, and you also have a bulk action that you can perform. For instance, let's say you're done with the onboarding, right? You need to update a bunch of fields, you need to run and execute a script on an asset and get done with it. So you can execute a bunch of actions in a single click with this unified runbooks that's embedded on top of it. So you have that. And as we speak, you also have AI poll that you would see. Just feel free to, if you if you like anything that you see and if you want to engage with us more on the AI features, or we have some amazing things that's coming up with respect to AI. So we would love to hear your thoughts on it. I think you read about this a lot in your forums. So we would love to hear your feedback on opinions as to what sort of outcomes or values that you would like to drive. So just feel free to share your feedback on that. And yeah, moving on, the other thing that we did this year is the whole knowledge base. So you have the ability to create knowledge base, but the sweetest thing about SuperOps is you don't need to create them manually anymore. So let's say you solve a really complex ticket, and let's say you want to document that, you don't need to go to another documentation tool and sit and create these articles anymore. So you would be able to convert a ticket into a knowledge base instantly so that you can resurface that later. So this is the depth that we are talking about, right? What we mean by uh, SuperOps being the operating system for IT is it's not just you get to manage your devices proactively, but the entire service delivery and the fulfillment happens through SuperOps because you're resurfacing the knowledge that you've gained through troubleshooting to solve for the problems that are going to come up in the future, and knowledge base is a key step in that direction. So yes, we can move on to the next. And yeah, so now talking about the AI on the service delivery side, right? So you have recommended solutions and similar tickets. If you are not somebody who, if you're using the SuperOps ticketing, I would love for you to use this because, like I said, SuperOps AI works on top of this knowledge layer. So as and when you get a new ticket, you would have the option to look into the recommended solution or similar tickets that you've handled in the past so that you don't need to spend a lot of time troubleshooting the same issues again and again. Because one of the common things that we see happening in the ticketing world is 40% of a technician's time goes into L1 tickets. It's not just a number that I made up. We had a research with Canales and Omdia. One of the key factors that showed up is like 40% of the cost is also spent on manual labor that goes into these L1 tickets, and recommended solution and similar tickets is something that has been a great lever for a lot of IT teams in terms of bringing that into control. And then you also have AI ticket deflection, right? So this is one of the things that I spoke to you about. An AI is only as good as the context it fed in that's fed into it. So SuperOps gave you the option to create knowledge base and also be able to store the knowledge base information within the platform. What happens that is you are able to resurface that to through ticket deflection. So for instance, we also want to focus on the employee experience this year, where we want to drive more towards self-serve in terms of some of the common requests. So if you like, one of the things that I would love for the teams who are attending this webinar is to try out the end user portal if you haven't been using that already. And one of the things that you would find within the end user portal is the ability to deflect tickets based on the existing knowledge base that's there. So as and when somebody is trying to create a ticket from or a service request from the portal, you would be able to instantly deflect that ticket saying, hey, for this particular type of ticket, this is all the information that you need to check. See if that's helpful. So if that's helpful, you're cutting down on a number of menial L1 tickets that you need to handle, and only you handle the high volume or highly important tickets that your technicians actually need to spend their time on. So that is one of the AI features that we would love for you to start using as well. And like I said, so other support channel that we want to deliver this year is the Microsoft Teams and Slack. I cannot stress enough on this because we understand that no IT environment is same as the other. Some IT environments don't even use ticketing as their primary source of troubleshooting anymore, and it's all done through Microsoft Teams and Slack because you have your sysadmins sitting on the Slack channels instantly addressing the request. So what you'd be able to do today is, apart from driving adoption through ticketing, you would be able to connect your Microsoft Teams and Slack. So all the requests that you're going to get from Slack messages is automatically created as a ticket, and technicians can just use SuperOps tool to reply to these requests or do any action, and that's going to automatically send that message over to Slack instantly as well. So from a technician perspective, he's just using SuperOps. He's not switching between a Slack and SuperOps. He's just using SuperOps as his source of truth to do all the things. But from an employee experience as well, this is something that hasn't changed. Like, they're still raising requests. If my preferred way is to raise requests through Slacks or Microsoft Teams, I still continue to do that. But for a technician who's handling all the requests, as soon as they raise things on Slack, it creates a ticket in SuperOps. They have all the context of the asset within the same ticket, and once the troubleshooting is done, they can respond within the same ticket, and that communication transfers to Slack and Microsoft Teams. So this is something that has solved a lot of problems for IT teams this year. I would love for everybody on this call, if you haven't already set this up, if your employees are heavy on Microsoft Teams or Slack, I would love for you to start adopting this soon, and see if that's making a difference for your processes, right? We can move on, right? And yes, here we are with one of the flagship releases that we have this year. So this was pretty recent. So SuperOps has launched the mobile device management. So far, you've been managing your endpoints, your network devices on SuperOps. Now you also have mobile devices. So you have your cross-platform MDM. And one of the things that SuperOps does is the zero-touch deployment, because yes, you don't want the process to be as complex as to bring in the devices in the first place. So I would just love for, if anybody wants to start using MDM, or if you have any interest, just please let us know. We'll have your customer success managers reach out to you so that you can see if it is of any value to you. As you see, we've run a poll here. So if this is something is of interest to you, just please let us know, and we would love for you to share your feedback as well, irrespective of you wanting to manage devices, or you wanting to know what SuperOps is building on the MDM side and what we have today. We would love for you to actually experience that firsthand by using it within your instance and share that with us. We'll be more than happy to assist you with the same, right? So, like I said, so you have all the devices that you have that you can manage. You have your Android, iOS across. So this is what the truly unified experience is with the mobile device management that we wanted to show. So yeah, right. And yes, finally, we don't want to let go of the integration as well, right? Uh, we spoke about all the depth that we are building within our platform, but it's not like IT is a vast spectrum, and you don't just need this tool. SuperOps, like I said, it's not a tool that's rip and replace. It fits right into your ecosystem in terms of larger things that you want to mention. So manage. So you have your Okta integration, you have your Acronis, Webroot, Bitdefender, and as we spoke about, you have your Microsoft Teams and Slack and calendar integration that's baked into it as well. So we are going to not just look at uh, the roadmap or the product from just a operational depth perspective, but also we want to support all sort of ecosystem, right? Because we want to be the fundamental layer in which you manage your assets, but that doesn't mean SuperOps doesn't integrate or work with all the other tools that you need to deliver your IT services. We are going to constantly keep this integration roadmap updated as well, so that you get the best out of it. So if there's anything that you would like for us to build, you can just drop your comments. Like I said, one of the things that I would love to do on these webinars is you have your product manager for IT who's joining in. So we like always love to put them on spot and say, hey, this is an important feature. You see, there are a lot of folks who are really excited about this. I want you to build this feature immediately. So that is something that we can do, and that's one of the exercises that we have. And with that, I'm come to the end of all the things that I wanted to show. But these are things that exist in the platform today. But to give you all the great news that is going to come up in 2026, we have Anirudh, who's the product manager for IT. So take it away, Ani. I think people want to hear more from you than me. So let's go.
Thank you so much, Sriram, and thanks for that intro where you're putting the product manager on the spot and you're bringing the customers, all the users on the same plane so that we could all thrash it out and build what the users want. And that's always our intent, right? Just a note on the MDM pieces, guys. As Sriram said, the MDM module has already been released a couple of months back. We already support iOS, iPadOS, and Android devices, and we are shortly coming up with MDM support for Mac OS as well. So far you've been using our RMM agent for managing Mac devices, but going forward you would also see us supporting MDM as a protocol, as an approach, technical approach to manage your Mac devices. So if any of you have any interest in that, please hit us up on the support chat on that small icon towards the bottom right of your screens on the product, or just have a word with your customer success or account manager so that they can route it to us and we could have that conversation about enabling early access for Mac OS MDM support as well. Pretty excited for what's coming up ahead in 2026. 2025 for IT was all about stabilizing the product in terms of where we wanted to get to, building the core foundations and so on, right? The IT product, the IT tool set is actually a very vast one, and here we are trying to focus here on the unified endpoint management space, right? And that's the angle that we're coming from, and from there we actually look into, okay, from the rest of the pieces, how are we going to put it together? So 2024 2025 was all about getting the foundational pieces, and 2026 is all about actually starting to elevate and actually amplify all the value that the tool can bring to the table. We spoke to a lot of IT leaders over the last 1 year, and one theme kept coming up again and again, right? IT teams aren't short on tools, they're just short on the leverage that these tools can provide, right? Today, most of us are actually drowning in routine requests, spending time enforcing the basics instead of improving the outcomes for our employees, reacting to instant incidents instead of just anticipating them, right? There's no proactivity there. A lot of it is actually, big chunk of it is actually reactive. From there, so hence we actually struggle to show the business value to the larger leadership, and ROI questions start coming up. So these are the key themes that we wanted to start and focus on, and how do we actually help all our users actually move from, say, from friction to control, to foresight, and then to business impact. So the key pillars that we wanted to work on is actually looking at these pain points and these challenges that all of us face as IT teams. So first off, we start by focusing on reducing friction and enabling and empowering self-service, right? The foundations for this has already been laid in 2025. You saw the Slack integration come through, the Teams integration come through. These are the channels where our IT teams are actually interacting with our employees on their IT issues and so on and so forth. From there, we want to actually enable a lot of AI based values so that we can actually look at key challenges here, right? What are the challenges that we're talking about? It's interrupted, IT teams are interrupted by routine requests. End users don't know where to go, or they assume that IT is slow, or simple issues turn into tickets, right? And this is the big bulk of repeat requests. Every team that I talk to, 40, 50, 60% of the monthly incoming ticket flow service requests is actually repeated tasks, and this is where we want to add a lot of value. If you can define it, if you can organize it, if you can put it into a KB, we're going to pick it up with the AI and we're going to resolve it as much as we can. So that is the kind of we want to deliver, where we actually are optimizing for fewer routine requests reaching the IT teams, faster resolution through intelligent assistance, and then higher confidence in our day-to-day operations, right? Our SLAs are tighter. We are very comfortable achieving those SLAs, and how we want to plan for the next month. So that is how we are looking at it. This phase is all about giving time back to the IT, not by working harder, but by removing all the unnecessary touch points and removing the friction and enabling all the self-service that we can actually do out there. And from there, our focus actually would move towards Q2. This is all Q1 what I'm talking about, but then come Q2, we'll be looking at how do we standardize operations. Because once you remove the friction in operations, the next challenge is inconsistency, right? And that is where your standardization and your excellence in operations and all of that starts coming in, right? And what am I talking about? These are all your uneven policies, your life cycle steps vary by team or by technician. Compliance relies too much on manual oversight. There are 10 things you got to do just to put one report together. And what we want to deliver here is actually more consistent lifecycle management across the environment. As all you all know, we have all the assets that you could possibly have on your real estate that you can manage, right? Windows, Linux, Mac, all your network devices, and now we have your mobile devices. We're bringing in also the rugged devices if any of you are working in such verticals where you manage a lot of your unmanaged devices, your rugged devices, or AOSP devices as they call it. All these devices, we also have virtual machines coming up on the roadmap, Hyper-Vs and VMware. So all of that put together is going to give you that single pane of glass to manage all your endpoints. And this is where we want to standardize operations, where we move from a best effort basis to a by design. We run operations not on a best effort, but then we run it by design. We define our processes and we actually want to standardize the operations around these processes. So we would want our teams to move towards system enforced standards, repeatable operations, and predictable outcomes. The focus shifts to consistency, control, and trust at scale. So friction, first, we try to remove that. And second, we move to standardizing operations and enforcing governance so that you have consistency, control, and trust at scale. So these would be the first two pillars that we want to focus on in 2026. And in the upcoming webinars, in upcoming communications, you will actually see how this translates to actual feature roadmap or the initiative roadmap that we can actually go after, right? Mitra, if you can move to the next slide. Yeah, there you go. And after that comes the remaining two pillars. So four pillars that I talked about: friction, removing friction and self-service first. Second is around your efficiency and trust and all of that. And the third one is around proactive operations, right? Once your operations is standardized, visibility actually is the amplifier, is the multiplier. Today you might have to learn about issues from users. You don't have a single view of operational health, right? I have probably managed 400 devices at the peak of my team's capacity, and I didn't have one or two screens where I could get a full asset health or full compliance status of these devices. Now, visibility is actually directly correlated to the control. The more visibility you have more people looking at it, and you can actually have more people controlling these stuff, right? So this is what we want to bring back so that you don't struggle to prioritize what actually matters. The key things, what are the 3, 4, 5 value drivers that you want your team to focus on once the friction and all the noise has been reduced in your operations, right? Therein comes how do we detect, how do we actually enable that? We want to enable that through proactive operations and predictive analytics, earlier detection of issues before user impact, clear visibility to operational health and risk, and then better prioritization across teams and environments. You stop reacting to incidents, rather you move to anticipating and managing them proactively. And that is what AI can deliver to asset management, device management, on RMM as a whole, right? From being reactive in nature, reacting to incidents, you can actually start predicting that this asset can go down, this asset needs a maintenance based on a history of events. And that is where we want to cross that bridge from reactive to proactive. And of course, the final pillar being the executive insight and measurable value. It's not just about changing how IT is perceived at the leadership level, but it's about also proving our ROI, right? We all of us have budgets, IT budgets that's been given to us, for which we have to prove value and justify and also show where these dollars are. This is where actually we would want to change the conversations from, say, tickets closed or scripts run to alerts handled. No, that's not the language we want to talk about. We want to talk about what is the risk that has been reduced, what is the time saved, what is the employee productivity that has been improved, or what are the outcomes that we have to improve. So we really want to close the year by elevating IT from being a cost center to a strategic business partner, right? And that actually comes from a clear understanding of what the performance is, what is the efficiency, how can we demonstrate business value of AI and automation, and then stronger alignment between the IT outcomes and business goals that all of you IT heads actually work with. So if you look at our 2026 roadmap, end to end, the journey is actually very deliberate, right? And this has come from say 2024 2025, where we have actually built the foundations of this whole structure we want to build, and now we are actually building the four pillars that are going to actually hold a really tight tool together. From here, again, as usual, we are open to feedback, guys. And as you all know, a few of you might know, our way of product management, how we build products and software here is totally different. We always, as product managers, we want to connect with our users who use our tool day to day, right? So we thought we always run early access programs, and we have a huge set of design partners whom we want to engage on a day-to-day basis with, right? So if you are willing to collaborate with us on the product team, as product managers, product marketers, so that you could give us feedback, you could shape how we are building these features. It starts right from the ideation stage. It's not just early access, but then we engage in all stages of the development of the software, right from say the ideation to design validation, and then to give a prototype in your hands to test it out and see how your UX is. Are we ticking off all the boxes you'd want to from an outcomes perspective? And then to early access, beta testing, and so on. So the question is out there, guys. If any of you want to collaborate with us as PM, so you get a front row seat to what's happening and even shaping how these features are actually built, you could vote here, and you could expect to drop a ping, hear a ping from me or a mail from me over the next couple of days. If you still not decided yet, just hit the maybe button, and so that we could share a list of features that we want to build for achieving a set of outcomes over the next couple of months, and you could probably say which features you're interested in to contribute and collaborate on. And mind you, these are standard 30-minute, 60-minute slots maximum, and it's going to take probably one session per month to be our design partners. It doesn't give it doesn't need too much into your plate also. So maximum 30 minutes per month is what we would want to engage with you on specific set of outcomes and features we're building. Right, I hope we could give it another 5 seconds. The question is out there, guys. If you can actually vote on that, that would be really good. Yeah. All right, so we can close the poll now and look for responses, and we would be reaching out on whoever's responded for that question. And that was all from my end. We're pretty excited about 2026, guys. And if you feel you have opinions and point of views to share on any of these pillars, or if you feel we are actually missing anything else, also please do hit us up, so that we would want to hear from you and see where we could take it from there. That was it from my end, and probably I think the next session is the Q&A. So me, Mitra, Sriram, all of us are open to Q&As, guys. We didn't see too much of questions come up today, but then we'd probably have a few questions come up, and we could actually stay back on the call for a couple of minutes to handle those questions. There was actually a question from Roberto, which Aravind has already answered, so we might not pick that one. But if there are any more questions that you would want to call out, please hit us up on the Q&A section. Probably we'd wait. If any of you are typing, we would want to wait for another minute or so. I think Niyati Chauhan has a question. Yes, the session is recorded, and if you have registered, you would receive a mail from us about with the recording. Yeah. All right, guys. I think we don't have a lot of questions today.
Yeah.
Probably early in the day, but yeah. Sriram, over to you.
Thank you so much, Annie. I just have one small announcement to make before Mitra closes this off. Just apart, like we've seen a bunch of features today. If there's any feature that interested you and you want to start adopting it, but you don't know where to start, we can help you with that as well. So you can write to success@superops.com with whatever you are trying to achieve. So one of the things that we want to do at SuperOps is we just don't want to be a tool provider. We want to be a partner in success in terms of enabling you to drive towards the goal that you have set out for yourself. So if there's any feature or any module that interests you, not just with respect to MDM or AI, or if there's any specific goals that you're trying to achieve, but you're not able to exactly achieve that, just feel free to write to us on success@superops.com, and we would be more than happy to just help you or aid you with it. So thank you so much everyone for joining the call today. Yes, over to you, Mitra.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sriram and Ani, for that wonderful session. I hope everybody found it useful, and we'd love to do more sessions with you. Just let us know in feedback so we can do more of these sessions for you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining today.